What's up, everybody? Welcome to me punching a microphone real early in the stream. How's it going? Welcome on into the stream. Happy Friday? That's what today is. Today's Friday. How's it going? Welcome to a brand new series here on both Twitch and on YouTube in the video game NCAA Football 12. It's a new series called What If... ... and then it's usually followed by the rest of the sentence, which in this case is, what if the Boise State Broncos joined the Pac-12? This is the first episode of the series. This is an intro episode. I'm going to lay out just a brief history of things and get the Dynasty mode and everything all set up and ready to go. And then subsequent episodes will feature full games from the series. Now, I do need to fix the Elgato, because the PlayStation 3 is arguably the most annoying console to stream from. Because what you have to do is, A, you have to buy an HDMI splitter to circumvent the HDCP, encoding or whatever the hell it is. They have it, protected so that you can't do stuff like this. But even when you do that, and you get it all set up and to view the menu, for whatever reason, when the game launches, the Elgato loses the signal and it doesn't know what it's supposed to find, and so it has to get the reset to be like, okay, now I want it in 720, now it's back to 1080 or whatever, and then it's like, oh, I found it, don't worry, I got you. No big deal. So here we'll go ahead and skip through this. We are playing NCAA Football 12 for a very specific reason. The very specific reason is this is the first year that the Pac-12 was in existence. In 2011, the Pac-12 added both Utah and Colorado. And when I was researching this, it looked like it was actually supposed to be a year later, but for whatever reason, one of the schools was able to get out of their contract with their previous conference or whatever it was. And they were able to bump it up a year. So then it ended up being 2011 instead of 2012, which meant that I had to go find a copy of NCAA Football 12 instead of the copy of NCAA Football 13 that I already owned. So thanks for that. Not that you would have ever possibly could have known that, foreseen that. 7 years or 8 years later, some nerd on the internet would be like, yo, here's a good idea. So what I'm gonna actually go ahead and delete this one. I was doing a little test to see what was going on. Anyway, I need to reposition my camera, I just realized. And I might need to sneeze. Just one? Okay, just one. Alright. So, Pac-12. They added Colorado. They added Utah. I've always thought it would be interesting if Boise State had been added instead of... In this case, I'm going to use Colorado because Utah's... whatever. Utah's fine. I don't care. I don't have anything against either of the two teams. Honestly. They're both fine. In the Pac-12, it's not that big of a deal. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to remove Colorado. And I did actually have a secondary thought to see what would happen. Maybe we revisit this in a couple of years, or in a year or whatever, and remove Utah and see if anything drastically different happens. Utah, of the two, has been the more prominent power school between the two of them over the last several years since they have been in the Pac-12. Personally, I like the Pac-10 because I liked that they played a round robin and they played everyone. When they added 2 more schools, they had to fix the scheduling and mess with all of it. But that is neither here nor there. We're going to be adding Boise State to the Pac-12. We're going to add them to the Pac-12 North because that makes sense as to where to put them because all the other schools are farther south. We're going to move California from the Pac-12 North to the Pac-12 South because they are the school that is just further south than Stanford. So there you go. And why I thought it would be interesting is because between 2007 and 2011, 12, Boise State was at the peak of its prowess, and that would have been an excellent time for them to move into a new conference, a more difficult conference, because they play in the Mountain West, and they get respect because they've been so good and so consistent over the years, and they've knocked off power schools, but they do get shaded a little bit because they are a Group of 5 team rather than a Power 5 team. But what if they were a Power 5 team? What if they did face, a level higher of competition every single week? And I think that's what the Pac-12 offers. Also just makes more geographical sense. Honestly, you could put Boise State in either the Pac-12, maybe even the Big 10, Big 12, and it could make some sort of sense. You would never put them in the SEC or like the ACC, because that just wouldn't make any sense. So there's a couple of other ideas I could work with and kind of see, but I like the geographical location of it related to the Pac-12 schools, so that's why we're putting them in this conference specifically. So that's a little bit of the history. They're ranked 8th in this game. When I was looking up the Boise State and when it moved into the Pac-12, turns out they actually had a wrestling program that was involved with the Pac-12, which is interesting. It's like a weird little quirk. Some schools have different affiliations of conferences depending on sport. Notre Dame is actually a good example. They play in a conference in basketball, but they don't in football. Kind of odd, but hey, whatever. So yeah, they currently play in the Mountain West. They're currently a good team. They're not quite where they were several years ago, but I think that's an interesting side effect. Obviously Boise State lost Chris Peterson right around this time, maybe a year or two later. Chris Peterson and Mike Leach, I believe, within a year, maybe even the same year, became coach of Washington and Washington State, respectively. I believe I said that correctly. Chris Peterson coached Washington. Mike Leach coached Washington State. They both left last year. Mike Leach is now in Mississippi State. Chris Peterson, I think, just went up a level, and he now oversees the football athletic department or whatever it is. So when Chris Peterson left, Boise State took a little bit of a dip, but maybe consistent competition can bring in some higher talent head coaches to coach at Boise State. Yeah, so there you go. What else do I want to cover in this first episode? We'll also cover in this episode, I'm going to set up the dynasty, and then we're going to kind of set the baseline expectations, both real world, and we're going to do fake simulation here in NCAA Football 12 and see what we get out of that. So we'll do that and get things going here. So let's create a new dynasty. We're going to create a new coach. I'm actually going to just create myself. That's not me, but that's all right. First name new, last name coach. Oops. Sean. And then bam, bam, L2 caps, O-M-B, wait, what? M-C, oh, I hit L2 instead of R2. I'm a big dum-dum. O-M-B, we'll go medium. I've been using medium 3. There's none of these look close. I'm gonna go with a suit because I think it's funny. Glasses on, and we'll put our alma mater as Washington State's fine. Actually, no. We'll go Boise State. Do that. Offensive style. We are going to work with the Boise State playbook, just to keep consistency. I'm not exactly sure what they do. I just sure as shit do not want the air raid of Washington State. We're going to pass a little more than we throw. We're going to go 60-40, and we're going to go 60-40 aggressive to conservative. Sub-frequency of 50 is fine. We'll run with a 4-3. We're going to work with a pass defense a little bit more, but not much more. I think 55 to 45 is probably good, because Oregon runs a fast-paced offense. Stanford's pretty run-heavy as well. Yeah. Oh, I actually set this to defend their run. Yeah, we'll defend their run a little bit more. Washington State will be air raid. Washington will probably run the ball pretty frequently. Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll be aggressive. We'll go 60-40 on aggressive as well. And then sub frequency of 50 is fine. All right. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and set the rules here. House rules. Skill level is going to be Heisman. Recruiting difficulty will be Heisman as well, I guess. Most of this stuff, most of the recruiting is actually going to be simulated. And we're going to watch the games. I'm not going to play them. I'm not going to play them because I think I have too much agency in them. I don't want them to lose too much, and I don't want them to win too much, and I'm not good enough for it. If it were like a rebuild or something like that, I think you could work with like an all-American difficulty, which would probably be fine for me, and then probably like a varsity recruiting difficulty, maybe bump it to all-American. I've never been very good at recruiting, but because we're watching, watching and simulating, we'll go ahead and put these on Heisman, injury, fatigue on, quarter length 5, play clock, coaching tips, game speed, normal, home field advantage, ice the kicker, custom AI, game rules. Okay, we're good. Generate auto names, yes. Use coach contracts, yes. Dynasty name, we'll go ahead and do this as B S U what if. What I. Actually, hang on. Let's just BSU what? Import. Okay. Custom conferences. This is the part that we need to do. We are going to move them to the south. Okay, just kidding. Hang on, hold on. We're going to the Mountain West Conference, which is where Boise State is. And we're going to move them to the Pac-12 North. Going to take California. We're going to just move them over to the south. And then we are going to take Colorado. And we're going to put them back in the Big 12, which is where they came from. Now, I need to look at the SEC as well. I don't think this is correct. But that's okay. I didn't consider this until I just looked at it. Because they added Missouri, Texas A&M. No, actually, you know what? No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal. We'll just pretend. We'll just go with... That's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. There's no reason to do it because it doesn't make any sense. All right. Check the conference rules here real quick. Schedule type. I'm not worried about protected rivalries. They give you a bunch of these. Protected rivalries. Can you change these? Oh, you can. Oh, okay. Okay. I don't... Oregon, Arizona, Oregon State, ASU, Washington, UCLA, WSU, USC. I don't think that's really much of a rivalry, but okay. Boise and Utah. That's fine. I think the Pac-12 does a good job at making sure that all their conference, their rivalries in the conference are towards the end of the season, so all of the teams may actually be eaten up, and Boise State might not have anyone to play. I'm also not that concerned with it. I think if Boise State played, Rivalries between them and Oregon would be pretty prominent, specifically because Oregon played in Boise State, lost in Boise State, and then a fight broke out, and then one of the running backs from Oregon ended up jawing with some fans. So that could have a thing. Chris Peterson moving on to Washington could create something. Vicinity between Washington State and Boise State could make it interesting. So I think you would get more natural rivalries out of it. But I think that for the most part, the final weekend is rivalry week, and I think they'll end up playing Utah for the most part. But that's fine. Let's see. Oh, this I'm going to fix to the... I'm going to go ahead and just fix this to the Rose Bowl. And that way it's a neutral site game. I don't like that the home team would be the one with the best conference record. I'm just not a big fan of that. Conference rules, BCS Bowls, Big Ten and Pac-12 are both going to the Rose Bowl, as it should be. Because if the college football playoff has done anything, it's just ruined that. All right. So, with moving Boise State into the Pac-12 North, that gives the Pac-12 4 top 25 teams, but more importantly, it gives the Pac-12 North 3 top 8 teams, with Boise State, Oregon, and Stanford. Washington and Washington State are not great in this game. Washington State specifically is not great. I do believe that this was the year that they faced off, that it was like 2-0-11 teams in the Apple Cup, and it was very bad. Washington State won, I think, by a field goal. So take advantage, when you can, Washington State, because Lord knows you can't win even when you're favored. All right, so here we go. So here's your Pac-12 North. You got Boise State, Oregon, Oregon State, Stanford, Washington, and Washington State. In the South, we have Arizona, Arizona State, California, UCLA, USC, and Utah. Colorado is back in the Big 12, and that is that. Bowl tie-ins. All right, we'll go ahead and begin Dynasty. We'll take a look at our coach contract, which I believe is for 3 years. So maybe we'll just see how that goes for 3 years and then call it good. I think the good thing about this is I think this is going to I think this series, the way it'll broadcast on Twitch, will line up pretty well with Grab Bag. So that'll be good. We need to go over here. Just look at the Pac-12 schools. And then we can go over here. And Boise State. They have a 94 offense. I'm sorry, a 94 overall, a 99 offense, and an 88 defense. And I think what's interesting, too, is alluding to, or going back to the point of, like, Boise State was a really good school. They come in with a 5-star prestige, which, aside from Oregon and USC, is the best in the conference. Like, they really could have added to the conference instead of, Colorado. Sometimes it does feel like the Pac-12 is a little top-heavy. Like, it's consistently been Oregon, Washington, Stanford over the last few years. Washington State's had a couple of good years in there that were spliced in there, but I don't know. Adding a 5-star prestige school, according to EA Sports NCAA Football 12, I think is good. I think it's a good test for Boise State, who will always go anywhere to play anyone, anytime. They beat Florida State in a big comeback victory. I think it was last year. Like I was mentioning earlier, they beat Oregon at home. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. So we're all good. Oh, I haven't picked. I need to select that I want to be the head coach. I almost picked to be the head coach of some other school. All right. So we have a 3-year contract. We have a 57% starting job security. We have big goals that we need to do. Beat a rival opponent in each season. Sign one top 25 prospect in one regular season. Finish second or better in the conference in one season. Win 10 games in one season. And win a bowl game in one season. I did not realize there were more. 75% of your conference games in one season, 5th or better in the conference each season, 8 games in one, finish in the BCS top 35 each season, one for the 25 and one for the 35, 10 4-star prospects in one regular season, sign a top 50 recruiting class each regular season, win 6 games every year, sign a top 75 recruiting class, and then make it to a bowl game. And you can see here there's a bunch of pass-fail impacts. These are very large fail impacts. A lot of these don't really have a whole lot going on with them. I did not realize there were so many of these. But that's okay. So we need to make sure that we're signing a top 50 recruiting class, winning at least half the games, and making it to a bowl game, which I think is doable. Okay, so we'll go ahead and continue. I've signed on the solid line, and I got a trophy for it. Hell yeah! That may or may not have been why I specifically picked that my alma mater was Boise State. I couldn't remember if I had that trophy or not. I also thought it would automatically put me on that, but it put me on Washington State because I have that set as my favorite team. Okay, so is there anything to do here? We can actually throughout the year you can take a look at the job security stuff. I believe this saved. So before we jump in any further, oh boy, I don't know if I want to. Can I? Is there a way to save? Hang on. Ah, there we go. There we go. Save Dynasty. Save it. Go ahead and save that. Overwrite. I saved at 12:11. That clock is incorrect. It is 1:12. We'll see what. 69. 14 kilobytes. Save completed. Time does my PlayStation think it is? 12:12. Oh, okay, so it had just saved. Alright, cool. Alright, so here we go. Let's go ahead and back out of this. What we're going to do is we're going to create a fake dynasty real quick. Actually, before I do that, I would like to... The actual 2011 Boise State Broncos went... had a record of... Oh, I can't do that because I'm not on this. So hang on. Let's see. 2011 Boise State football. Enter. Let's see. 2011, which is what this game will cover. We'll be able to tell because they should play Georgia. Okay. So, the real life, actual Boise State Broncos ended the regular season with 1 loss, and I believe that's 11 wins. 12 wins, excuse me. That may include the bowl game. Okay, never mind. They went 12-1. They lost 1 game at home to TCU by 1 point in mid-November. I think that's going to be a bit much for the Boise State Broncos to repeat in this dynasty. So we'll look at the schedule and I'll make a prediction. But that's kind of the baseline would be that they went 12-1, they made it to a bowl game, and they won that bowl game. So we'll go ahead, we'll just actually skip through all of this real quick. We need to go in here, and then this is BSU fake. Dynasty house rules. Go ahead and fix this. Varsity. That's incorrect. I almost let it go. So Heisman, and then go down here to custom conferences. We will pull that. Do this. Move Boise State to the Pac-12 North. And then move California to the south. It's a little slow. Just a wee bit slow. And then the Colorado will go to the Big 12. Arizona State, Cal, UCLA, USC, Utah, Boise State, Oregon State, Stanford, Washington State. Perfect. Looks good. We'll fix the I'll fix that one conference rule. Oops. Go to the Rose Bowl. SEC Championship. Because they don't have the... It's played in the San Francisco 49ers Stadium right now. So I go. Okay. Perfect. So we'll back out. And then we should be able to begin Dynasty. And then we'll just make sure that we are... Oh, I didn't fix the playbooks. Shit. That's okay. That's okay. It's not perfect. Can I go back? Nah, it's fine. It's fine. No big deal. So what we're going to do right here is we're going to be the head coach of the Boise State Broncos. And we're going to... Oh, a 4-year contract. Weird. These don't matter, so I don't care. Processing your selection. Oh, man. Look at new coach. Ready to go. Ready to roll, ready to play. Basically what we're going to do is we're just going to simulate a regular season here for the Boise State Broncos. And then we'll jump back into our regular one and we'll get everything set and ready to go for the first full video, which we'll publish on YouTube next week. So if you like this, be sure to subscribe to YouTube. If you like this, hit the follow button on Twitch. These are normally going to air Thursday mornings on twitch.tv/ShaunosaurusRex for the next 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks or so. And then that'll move into a different seasonal series, Grab Bag. We'll be back for Season 3 at the end of December. And then, yeah, probably just kind of rotate through some stuff and then play a bunch of other games. Because stream is real great. I will be honest, this part is a little boring. We're gonna have to wait for like 15 weeks of simulating. What we'll do here is I'm just gonna simulate the recruiting. I have no interest in that. We're gonna zip all the way down here. We'll just go to week 15 and we'll just hang out here for just a moment. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll pause the YouTube video. How's that sound? That's not where the camera is. The camera's here. How's that sound? Alright, so the simulating is done. And Boise State beat Georgia in Georgia 23-21. Beat Cal 31-6 in California. Came home and took out Air Force 47-14. Beat Washington State 41-17. Lost at Stanford. When this happened, this was a top 5 matchup. It was number 5, number 3, something like that. Actually, maybe I shouldn't say that because I don't know what Boise State's rank was. When this happened, Stanford for sure was number 3. So they lost to Stanford in Stanford. I can never remember the farm. That's what they call it. On the farm, they lost. Boise State returned home, beat Arizona 24-14. Headed down to beat Arizona State 35-7. Came back home, beat Washington by 10, 31-21. Took on UNLV. One of the other out-of-conference games, we had one at Georgia. Then number 18 Air Force, which is their current ranking. These are the 3 non-conference games. Because I believe Pac-12 schools get 3 each. And unlike some of the Pac-12 schools, they didn't schedule any like, oh, come on, Portland State or Eastern Washington, come hang out and we'll beat up on you for a little bit. They took on UNLV and won that by a large margin of 48-14. Came back home. Oregon State won by 8, 24-16. Took on Oregon in Oregon, won that 41-27. And then lost at home to Utah, who finished 6-6. They lost that game by 4. So what we need to do now is head to the conference standings. 10-2, by the way. Great record. Oregon wins the Pac-12 North, so they will represent the Pac-12 in the North in the Pac-12 championship. They finished the conference record of 8-1. Boise State just behind at 7-2 in the conference. That, as the simulation was happening, I thought that the loss that they had against against Utah was going to be really bad, but I wasn't 100% sure. But it was. Knocked them out of contention for it. I don't know. I would guess, because they would have been 8-1, but they would have held the tiebreaker over Oregon, so they probably would have gone to the conference championship. We have Washington State all the way down here at the bottom. I love you, Cougars. Go Cougs. Oregon State finished 5-7. Washington 8-4. Stanford 9-3. Oregon 10-2. And in the Pac-12 South, it'll be USC representing the Pac-12 South in the championship game. The Pac-12 South, for whatever reason, seems like it's far more of a mess usually, because USC hasn't been super consistent lately, and neither has UCLA. Those are normally the teams that would be fighting at the top. Cal's had a couple of surprise seasons recently. Utah's been pretty consistent. Arizona and Arizona State have both been wild, kind of like cardiac craziness. So this kind of standing makes sense. This is about what you would see, but to only have 2 teams above 500 overall, and only 2 teams with winning records in the conference is kind of surprising in the South. But USC and Oregon will be your conference championship game. So we should be able to simulate through that. Advanced Week Championship. And then we'll figure out what bowl game they're going to get to go to. 10-2, rank number 13. And this is why I cut all of that out. That took a very long time. Took so long I had my controller turned off. Like, oh, cool. Cool, thanks. Appreciate it. Filling the recruiting boards. I also would have had to fill so much time. I got up and just went to the bathroom and just let it go. It's like, cool. You'll be here when I get back. And it was. Alright. We're finally gonna get going here. It takes a long time to fill up the recruiting boards the later you get in the season. So we'll just skip that part. Thank God. Thank God. Good old, what's it called? OBS can pause videos now. Okay. Conference Championship Week. Schedule? Scores and schedules. There we go. See what's going on this week. ECU Houston, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, Arkansas, USC, Oregon, Michigan State, Wisconsin. Wisconsin, by the way, #1 team in the country. Miami, and Western Michigan. All right. So we're gonna have to simulate again, aren't we? Ah, shoot. Advanced into bowl season, okay. Go ahead and go to bowl season. Bum, 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 bum. All right, so here we go. 2011 Heisman Memorial Trophy winner, quarterback from Houston. Nice. Congratulations to him. There we go. We're going to the Holiday Bowl. That seems like an honest insult that a top 10 team is in the Holiday Bowl playing a 6-6 Colorado team. However, it is on my birthday, so happy birthday to me, I guess. We're going to go clobber Colorado, I suppose. I get to say we because I'm the coach of the team, okay? Alright, advance the week. We'll go to the end of the bowl season. Okay. So Boise State finished with a record of 10-2 in the regular season, ranked 9th. Second place in the Pac-12 North, which, without that loss to Utah, probably would have put them in the conference championship game. And then they got to play in the Holiday Bowl, where they won by 3. So 11-2 is the mark to beat, which actually is not as far off as I thought it would have been. For just simulating all of this. Advancing to end of season, that's fine. So there you go. That's what we're looking at. I may have said that, spoken that a smidge too soon. Okay, updating record books. Okay, you got it. We'll go ahead and add that to my... Actually, yeah, add it to my profile. I want it. I want it. Give me the Holiday Bowl. I earned it. I did it. I did it, coach. I won the Holiday Bowl. All right. So we'll go over here and we're going to just take a quick look at our scores. We're going to take a look at the scores and the schedule. Everything should be all done. So go ahead and check our schedule. So, as a reminder, combined opponents record 82-70. Took out Colorado by only a score of 3. I thought that would be more of a clobbering, but that's all right. Boise State, according to a simulation in this game, Boise State goes 11-2, 7-2 in the conference. They finish the season ranked 8th, second place in the Pac-12 North, just missing out on a bowl berth, and wins the Holiday Bowl. So that's kind of the baseline that we're working with. In real life, they went 12-1. They won their bowl game in that season as well. One in-conference loss to TCU at home by a point. In this, one extra loss. And the losses were not by much. The losses were by 4 and 7 points, respectively. So that is kind of our baseline. Normally, because I have a few different ideas of some what ifs that I want to do. Normally, it'll have a more firm pass fail sort of thing. But because this one's a little more loose and it's a little more of I'm just curious to see what would happen in the form of a video game. It doesn't have those strict pass-fail guidelines, so we'll kind of use that as our pass-fail, for lack of a better term. I would say that over the course of 3 years, let's say, Boise State would need to be routinely competitive in the Pac-12, specifically in the Pac-12 North, maybe a conference championship win somewhere in there, but I think that if they can maintain a consistent presence towards the top of those rankings, I think that would validate my argument of Boise State should have joined the Pac-12, which is more just a fun thought to work with. So, with all that being said, let's hop back into our other dynasty. And we'll take a look here. Take a quick look here, and we'll take a peek at our schedule. It should be the same. Jump into Dynasty and make sure that we're looking at BSU fake. Oh wow, they started and ended the same season at 8th. Also, apologies if this video was a little bit dry. The other videos will have actual gameplay. So, if it's a little dry, my bad. So we're going to go ahead and just skip all of this. Actually, just kidding. Let's take a look at our schedule here, because we can look at the custom schedule. We're going to open in Georgia. We'll remain that one's locked at Cal. We'll head to UNLV. That's different. That one and this game are different. One of these was Air Force. Can I get Air Force? Oh, I can. I don't know which team is better. I'm glad that I looked at this. So let's grab Air Force here and see if we can get... Oops. That's fine. UNLV here. Which might not be possible. Oh, we can. Okay. I believe that's who they faced. Ah, shit. Why does that not seem right? That's okay. We'll stick with it. They won their 3 non-conference games in the simulation, so as long as I guess that is similar. Pretty sure it was UNLV. I didn't realize that was going to be an issue. I'm glad I looked at it, though. So we'll start in Georgia, head to Cal. We'll go ahead and get Air Force at home. Then we'll head to Washington State, take on Stanford, home against Arizona, in Arizona State, home against Washington, home against UNLV, home against Oregon State, in Oregon, in Eugene, Oregon, and then we'll take on Utah to wrap it out. That looks fine to me. We'll go ahead and I'd like to keep the changes, yes, please. Go ahead and start the season. All prior events, yeah, more simulation. That's what we're doing here. We're simulating. I'm gonna predict that Boise State goes 9-3 in the regular season and wins their bowl game. That's my guess. That's my guess. I know what they did in real life. I know what the simulation told us. But I think that there will be one more game that maybe trips them up. Maybe Oregon doesn't go quite as well this time around. I mean, maybe Stanford doesn't end as a loss either. So, pardon me. I sound like my throat is. I don't want them to go 9-3. But I think 9-3 in a bowl game is good for this season. Hopefully they're competitive in the Pac-12 North. Maybe the Georgia game trips them up. We'll take a quick look at the schedule. Where did the ESPN tab go? And I'll give you the look. What I'm thinking here. I think UNLV and Air Force are both wins. The Georgia game's a toss-up. I think they'll beat Cal. I think they'll beat Air Force. I think they will cruise to a victory with Washington State. I think they will either lose to Stanford or Oregon, but I think they'll beat one of them. And I'll guess that they lose at Stanford and win at home against Oregon. Arizona, they should win that one. At Arizona State, I'll take a win there. Washington win. UNLV a win. Oregon State win. At number 5, Oregon. I didn't realize both of these were on the road. For some reason, I thought this was at home. I confused it with Oregon State. My bad. I'll take them to beat Oregon and beat Utah. So maybe I have them going 10-2. One loss against Stanford. One loss against Stanford. Man, I'm a real coin flip on this one. Let's see. Nah, maybe, you know what? I'll go 11-1. I'll say they beat Georgia and they lose to either Stanford or Oregon. 11-1. That's fine. God dang it. So, there you go. That is the intro episode to What If Boise State joined the Pac-12. Tune in next week, next Saturday here on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. Tune in next Saturday for week number 1 at Georgia. Be kicking off the season. We're just going to be watching the games, so if that sounds like a good time, you could watch it next week. Or you can head on over to twitch.tv/ShaunosaurusRex and watch the games unfold live. Join in the chat, have a good time, and just kind of hang out. So thank you for watching this first episode of this series. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll be back with more next week. See you then.